Thank you for listening to English with Monty. For bonus episodes, to test your English grammar, book a free 30-minute trial lesson, or to access our conversation group in London, go to linktree/English with Monty. linktr.ee/English with Monty. Today we're talking about British myths in language and culture. Hello there and welcome to English with Monty. We're moving on to episode number 71 and I'm in Chiang Mai, Thailand with Gideon sitting right opposite me.
Hi everyone. Yeah, John has come to see elephants, trek in the jungle, take in some waterfalls, see the old city, eat some spicy food. And what else have you done? Anything interesting?
Sat by the pool as well.
And above 25 degrees.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to going back home. To the English winter.
I'm looking forward to you going back home.
Oh, that's lovely.
Just kidding, John.
No, it's been a pleasure, hasn't it, being in Chiang Mai. This is where often you are over the winter period. Third year in a row now, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
You keep on saying to me, come out. And as you've made a giant transfer to pay for me to come out here.
Yeah, of course. You make millions from this podcast.
Simply because of you.
Yeah.
You're such a generous guy that you decided to share the wealth.
I think so. Spread the love.
So today we're going to do a podcast on British myths, but also myths about British English as well, which I think is quite interesting because I imagine a lot of non-native speakers have ideas in their mind and sometimes it's really not true, isn't it?
Okay.
You like this subject though, don't you? I wouldn't call you an expert.
I think I will like it. Let's see what you have.
Okay. First of all, we'll start off with a bit of a warm-up, perhaps, for the listeners. We'll come up with a few different sentences, and then we'll take a bit of a pause, and then the listeners can decide for themselves whether they think it is a myth or a reality.
Okay.
So the first sentence, British people never say what they really think.
I would say that's not true. I think English people, they say they're less direct. That's possibly true. They will hint to what they mean rather than speaking directly. So, for example, if you do a presentation and I don't like your presentation, I think some cultures would say, I don't like your presentation. And British person might say, it's good, but it needs some work.
True. That's less direct, isn't it, in that context?
Yeah, it's a good effort, but just needs some rearranging and reorganizing and rewriting completely, re-recording. But otherwise, it's very good.
How would you think about that? Obviously, we're British, so we're probably slightly biased. But I don't know, in your opinion, do you think that's a good way of doing things?
I don't know. You just have to be culturally sensitive. I guess that's how I would normally say it, not to offend people. I would try and err on the side of being positive and being friendly rather than being direct. So sometimes, of course, even British people are direct, but is it about avoiding confrontation? Well, maybe. And I don't like to say, that was crap, do it again. I don't like to say that personally, but maybe is that a cultural thing, or is it me?
I think to some extent it's cultural, isn't it? But at the same time, don't you think it's down to tact as well? You have an idea of not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings, but also maybe you want to be a bit more constructive with your feedback, do you think?
Yeah, that's what I just said, isn't it?
I guess so. I was just trying to make it clear for the listeners.
Okay, yeah.
Just in case they didn't realise.
Okay.
Also, as well, I think the interesting thing about that is at the end of the day, it's only an opinion.
If I said to you, do you like my shirt, my pink shirt with unicorns?
It's lovely.
Would you say that?
I'd probably say...
And you don't like it?
If I didn't like it, I'd probably say, if you like it, that's good, but I don't think it's my kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. That's quite a British response.
It is quite a British response.
I think even that's a bit direct.
A little bit, yeah, that's true.
But if you wanted to tell them that it's not suitable to go into the to dress for the party like that, what would you say?
I think I would try something else.
What would you say?
That's what I would say. I think I would try something else.
Oh, okay.
I'd probably say something like, I'm not sure if that's that great. Maybe you should go for something else.
As an English teacher, I used to teach the expression, you might want to.
Oh.
Which is very good expression if you want to gently criticise somebody. It's good, but you might want to wear something different for the interview.
A pink shirt doesn't normally... It depends.
Depends on the interview. If it's for the bouncer in a whorehouse, maybe.
Sure. Then you might be fine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's quite a good expression. You might want to.
You might want to.
It's not too direct, is it?
Yeah. The next one is, if a British person is very polite, they probably like you. What do you mean by that, John?
Let's give a bit of a pause just for the listener to think about it. Well...
You can put the pause in post. Pause in post. You don't literally need to make a pause.
Well, that's true. That is very true. Thank you. That's a curious one. So if a British person is very polite, they probably like you. I would say that's probably not true, is it? I suppose as a British person we are very polite in very particular circumstances. Perhaps culturally it's less of a thing than it used to be in the past. What do you think?
I would think the opposite is true. That if a British person likes you, they'll probably gently make fun of you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they'll say, John, you old bastard, what are you doing here? But if you don't like the person, you'll say, oh, hi. Yeah, nice to see you again. You're back. That's good, isn't it?
That's true, yeah.
I think the opposite is true. Like, you say something a bit slightly edgy, and it's a bonding thing.
That's very true, isn't it? Because it's more like banter, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we're bantering with you, which means that you're maybe making a bit of fun out of the other person.
Yeah.
It shows that you like somebody, doesn't it? Because you're trying to make something a bit more humorous, a bit more light-hearted.
Yeah, make a gentle joke at their expense. You wouldn't say something insulting, but something gentle.
Yes. So you'd say something like, I really like your hat. It's a lovely pink colour.
That just sounds a bit sarcastic there, doesn't it?
Yeah, what would we say? I'm trying to think off the top of my head what we would say in terms of banter.
Obviously, you have a lot of experience in banter.
I clearly do. My brain's slightly fried from the sun in Chiang Mai. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Complaining is negative in British culture.
Who said that? Complaining is negative? No, it depends how you do it, isn't it? If you complain because you've received bad service or something is wrong, it's normal to complain. It should be. I don't complain very much, but I'm just a bit tolerant and things. But yeah, if you need to, you complain.
I suppose there's maybe a method of complaining, isn't it?
Yeah. People complain for no reason at all. I think that's a bit... Like someone here in the place I'm staying at complained that there was no elevator. It was only on 2 floors. It was clearly marked on the website, we don't have an elevator, and they could have contacted before, no elevator here. But instead they complained and made a review.
And they didn't need elevator themselves?
No, they didn't even need an elevator. I won't call it an elevator, lift. I think they called it an elevator here in Thailand.
So that's pointless complaining, isn't it? That's complaining for the sake of complaining.
But if something's wrong, I would complain, yeah. This is not right. You promised me to have mango sticky rice, and this is not mango, this is apricot sticky rice.
It's perhaps, though, it's more modern.
Potato sticky rice. Mango sticky rice is a speciality, by the way, in Chiang Mai.
And it's very tasty.
Yeah.
And I made it the other day. But it's probably fair to say, isn't it, in the olden days, maybe it's less common nowadays for us to be more reluctant to complain. But stereotypically, we would have the idea of, oh, you'd have a terrible meal and you just say, oh, and the waiter comes over and you say, oh, how's your meal? And you're like, it's nice.
Really?
I think in the old days, no?
What, the old days? The 1920s?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Something's wrong. I say I don't complain very much, but if something's really bad, I'll certainly say something. They promise one thing and give me something else. If they're doing their best and there's chaos because, I don't know, there's a thunderstorm or there's no electricity, then yeah, you have to accept it.
No, fair enough. That one's a bit of a myth. The last one.
If we say that's fine, we are happy, what do you mean by that, John?
I guess the whole idea of British understatement. Somebody says to you,
how was your mango sticky rice?
It's fine, yeah.
I'm not sure. I think there are more subtle ways. You could say that, but I might say something like, if I really liked it, I would use a negative. I say, not bad at all. You can often use a negative to say something positive. It's just in the tone of the voice. Because also, if you use a positive sometimes, it can sound bad. Yes, all right. It's okay.
Yeah, that's true, because it's the intonation of the voice.
It's okay, yeah, it's good.
So if I say, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
I'm fine. Often you'd say I'm well, wouldn't you, rather than I'm fine.
I'm good.
That's not grammatically correct, is it? But we do say that.
We do say that.
Don't we?
We do say that.
Probably a bit of an Americanism, isn't it?
Maybe it's one that's come through.
I think mostly those are myths. Let's move on. I think you're going to really enjoy this one. We love the royal family, British people.
That's completely different to what we've been talking about in terms of things. Yeah, we've gone on to a more political subject.
We have.
No, I think it's just statistically not true.
So you say this is a myth?
Actually, I remember you telling me something, John, once. You said, maybe not quoting you verbatim, but you said that a third of people love the royal family, a third of people don't want the royal family, and a third of people just don't care.
Yeah.
And you told me that you're on the don't care part, and I'm in the don't want them, don't need them, what the hell are they doing here? By the way, it's not about the money. If you can have a royal family, they've got to give them money. You can't have them living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Leighton Buzzard. You've got to have a proper mansion and palaces and everything. No, it's not about the money. It's about democracy. And why should things be inherited from generation to generation? I just think it's just not democratic.
I think that is a fairly true representation, at least from what I've read. So maybe a third of people do love the royal family, and a lot of them, I would argue, would be from a slightly older generation. So supposedly, particularly when the Queen was alive, it was people who grew up with her at the same time. They saw her life throughout. So that's one of the reasons, apparently. So yes, that is a bit of a myth. The next one?
British food is terrible. Oh, God, I've heard this cliche so many times. Yeah, it's true. I hear every time whenever you travel. It's true, British food is not so famous. And I remember hearing, who was it who said that? Some guy who said the British do breakfast and tea very well, better than lunch and dinner. So I don't know, maybe there's some truth in that. We do like nice teas and nice breakfasts, but lunch and dinner, you might have the cuisine of some other country.
Yeah, potentially.
I'm not a meat eater, but I know people love roast beef and fish and chips and lots of other dishes, shepherd's pie, and I think there are lots of dishes that people like. Chicken tikka masala, invented in Britain, not in India.
By migrants, but yeah, it was invented in England. And Balti. That was invented in Birmingham.
Not everyone knows what Balti is. You might want to explain.
It's like a creamy curry, isn't it? Let's say it's a bit more for the tastes of British people.
Yeah.
So it's not really very spicy, typically.
Yeah. Anglo-Indian cuisine.
Exactly. Yeah. We did have this discussion the other day, didn't we, with a Canadian friend of yours in Chiang Mai, and we were talking about English food. We probably, as British people, we don't talk about it maybe enough, in the sense that we could have spoken a bit more about the dishes or made a bit more of a conversation about it, because there are some wonderful dishes. And a lot of the time, I don't know if you have come across this in France. So typically in the United Kingdom, the food comes from the rich, whereas Italy or Spain and France, the food would come from the poor.
Is that right?
I guess really to some extent it's because of land ownership, but also about agriculture and the importance of agriculture. Somewhere like Italy obviously has very fertile land and has good weather, and then people from the lower end of society would always have a patch of land and grow their own things, whereas in Britain it would have been very different. It would have been landowners who manage things, but also we don't have the same kind of climate, or we don't have the same kind of soil, do we? That's also another factor.
True. I think there might be a bit more to it than that, because in the 19th century, English cuisine was considered a great cuisine in the 19th century.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's quite the same level, but French, Italian, English cuisine, they were all held in very high esteem. But after the Second World War, the prestige of English food has gone right down. To such an extent that most foreign people I know make a joke about it. Partly true from the Second World War, because in England there was rationing, which means that you was limited what you could buy after the war. It lasted longer in Britain than in other countries because we were an island and the supply chains weren't good. So we have to make do with making convenience foods, and people got used to it, so quality went down. But certainly it's changed in the last 20, 30 years, certainly very good now. And not only that, in London, I think it's one of the world capitals for food, because you get great international cuisine as well. We make other people's food very well.
I guess also the other point that we were making as well was about the idea of English restaurants. We don't really have English restaurants, do we? I guess our food culture does come from pubs.
We certainly don't have English restaurants, but you have, as you say, pubs, gastropubs.
Yeah.
You have places where you get tea, which makes all the tea stuff that I mentioned. You get English cafes where you get the English breakfast. It's true, not many English restaurants on the corner. There's lots of places where you can get English food.
But as you said, it would be gastropubs, wouldn't it? And often people talk about fish and chips or English breakfast. There are many other dishes, particularly fish. We often have, I know you're a vegetarian, so it doesn't really apply to you, but we do have lots of lovely different fishes that you would often have with not being fried. Sea bass, for example, is often on the menu with potatoes and boiled vegetables, and that's very tasty. It's a very nice dish. And often we have things like fish pie, which can be wonderful. We have things like toad in the hole, which a lot of people probably haven't heard of, but that's a sausage in a Yorkshire pudding, a giant Yorkshire pudding. You'd often put gravy on, which is like meat sauce, isn't it, with vegetables. Things like shepherd's pie, which a lot of these things can also be adapted for vegetarian dishes, can't they, as well?
Sure. And you have great English cheeses.
This is probably another thing, isn't it? Maybe in France particularly, cheese is seen as a really big thing, but we do have a lot of cheeses.
Yeah, sure.
We perhaps don't promote it in the same way. Also, the wine industry now, with climate change, the wine industry is becoming more of a thing.
Yeah.
In Kent, where I live, there's a lot of wine production. Perhaps because of the climate, it's more potentially white wine or sparkling white wine, which is more flavourful, shall we say.
Okay.
But if the temperatures keep on changing, then that could change as well.
Hooray for climate change. Turned out good in the end, didn't it? At least for the Kent wine industry.
Yes, exactly. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we are emotionally reserved.
Is that true? I don't know if that's true either. I don't feel particularly emotionally reserved. Do you?
I don't know. I've never seen you cry in my company.
Maybe there's a point of not showing your emotions too quickly, too readily in public when you meet someone for the first time. Maybe there's some truth in that, but I don't know what that is different to other cultures. Certainly, you meet all kinds of people. It depends on the individual. Some people are very emotional, wear their heart on their sleeve, as the expression is, and other people maintain their sang-froid.
Their composure.
Yeah.
It is an interesting one. Perhaps I always think it's a bit of a generational thing. Maybe our parents' generation or our grandparents were a bit less, or to some extent less, emotionally open. I think younger generations, that's changed, in my view. I think we're probably more likely to say how we feel, aren't we, nowadays, than we perhaps were in the past. Maybe it's a Victorian idea, isn't it, a little bit?
Maybe, yes, Victorian, going back a long time, but yeah.
Sometimes these stereotypes or these ideas maybe do come from that time period, don't you think?
Victorian dad who would beat his children because they made some errors in their Latin conjugations, and they would say, "No, whip, whip. This is hurting me than it's hurting you, boy."
That's a curious example, yeah.
The Victorian dad I think of.
Yeah.
So make sure children get your Latin conjugations correct.
That's a good point. Very good example.
Thank you.
Okay, so
We drink tea constantly.
when was the last time you had a cup of tea?
No, I do drink tea.
Okay.
I do have a complaint, though. My complaint is not about tea. People drink tea, but my complaint is that the British have lost the art of tea. We just use tea bags now. You just put in a tea bag in a mug and fill it with hot water. And I think it's sad because it tastes so much better with loose tea, and if you use a teapot and you heat the teapot and use good water. But you rarely see anyone doing that anymore. That's my complaint. I don't know, we drink more coffee than tea, but I'm not necessarily typical.
I understand your complaint. It probably, to some extent, actually, really depends on the people, because I do have friends who are a similar age to me, and they would drink tea a lot.
With tea leaves?
Not necessarily, no, often with tea bags.
And also tea bags are bad for the environment. If you care for the environment, then...
Some are biodegradable now.
Does that really make the tea taste better?
Not sure, but it's better for the environment.
But tea should be free, like people.
Okay.
That's not my quote, that's George Orwell's quote. Tea should be free.
I think you're right when it comes to that.
And if you're making good English tea, you don't even need a strainer, really, if you do it correctly and you hold it from the right place. Just you might need a strainer, but I don't even bother with a strainer. Put it in the teapot, wait 8 minutes. Very hot water, it's black tea. Add a drop of milk, if you want milk. So,
But would you say the idea of people constantly drinking tea is maybe, again, a little bit of a generational thing? My parents would still have tea probably 3 or 4 times a day, and they will often have tea around about 5 o'clock, which, again, is a common thought, isn't it? That we often have tea around about 5 o'clock.
it's a bit of a cliche. Every household is different. Maybe they did. There were times when I drank quite a lot of tea, but I drink more coffee. Certainly drink more coffee than tea.
Yeah. Is it, again, a little bit from Victorian times, this idea, I would say.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. But they didn't use tea bags in Victorian times because they were invented in the 1960s.
That's true. Okay, so yeah, that's a bit of a myth, isn't it, really? I'm wondering how many truths we're going to come up with here. British people, so Brits, are always polite.
I think there's an element, they're not always, no, definitely not always, but there's an element of truth that we try to be polite with strangers as much as we can, but you'll find rude people wherever you go, you find rude people. So I'm afraid they're unavoidable.
I think maybe people often try their best, don't they? Maybe if you're meeting with strangers, like invariably you're going to be polite, aren't you? But it's not always true.
I think the reason people think we're polite is also it's linguistic, because in other cultures you have two words for you, like in French you have tu and vous, and so you can just say, give me that. You're using the polite form of you. Yeah, but if you translate to English, it sounds rude. Give me that, because we only have one form of use. So you have to redirect your speech to pick up some conditionals and some past tenses. Would you mind giving me that? Or you couldn't tell me with that, could you? Use a negative and a question tags, all because we don't have this tu, vous distinction. So we have to go around the houses to get our message across. And I think people who don't know English as a first language, that seems strange at first and gives them the impression that we're very polite, when in fact we're just dealing with our linguistic heritage.
That is how it is, though, really, isn't it? You just have to learn those elements, those ways of speaking. I think you're right. People do feel as if we're more polite for that reason. As you say, it's just a coping mechanism in terms of the language, isn't it? In some ways, of altering it.
Yeah. Everyone sounds posh. I think people watch a lot of Downton Abbey. Their contact with British TV and British movies is something where people are speaking posh, like Downton Abbey or Love Actually, or those other films.
Maybe The Crown.
The Crown. But of course, if you go onto the streets of London or Manchester or Birmingham, we don't speak like that at all, do we?
Yeah, accents are a thing, aren't they? We have lots of different accents in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I think that's another element that perhaps we can bring into it, that we understand all accents. I know that we spoke about this the other day, didn't we? Quite a lot of people who are non-natives will talk about the Scottish accent or maybe the Irish accent being very difficult in particular as accents. And maybe Liverpool as well, that can be quite difficult, can't it, if it's very strong, or Newcastle.
Cockney accent is very strong.
But I would say it's a bit clearer though, isn't it?
Not really, not strong Cockney.
No, I suppose not.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, we went to a language exchange yesterday, didn't we? We met a Chinese lady who did a bit of Cockney.
Well, she knew bottle of water. She picked that up somewhere because she liked Harry Potter.
She did,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. But she was dropping the T's, wasn't she? Which
Yeah.
I thought was quite entertaining, because you do get a lot of people speaking that way, particularly maybe down London way. People sounding posh? No. Again, I would say it's a bit of a Victorian stereotype, a bit of a class system thing as well, isn't it? We perhaps less so than in the past, but certainly if you were from the higher classes, you'd have a posh accent, whereas if you're from a more working classes, you're more likely to have an accent which is not posh, and it's from your local area. It's like a local dialect. I think this is an interesting one. We're moving slightly more onto actually the English language rather than Britain itself. So British English is more correct than other Englishes.
I think that touches on a little bit what you said before. There are which British English, and I wouldn't say there's any correct or incorrect English. There are different variations of English, and there is something called Standard British English. That's called SSBE, Standard Southern British English, which when you read a dictionary and you look at the phonetics and you follow the standard grammar, that's based on British English from the south of English. Is called SSBE, Standard Southern British English. But that doesn't mean that any other form is wrong or worse. Not at all. You get lots of variations and they're all equally valid. But of course, if you're going to speak in such a way, if somebody from England is speaking to someone from, America, they might adapt their vocabulary a little bit so that they're understandable, or even within Britain. You might make a few concessions, like I'm in Thailand, if I meet an American, I might say sidewalk instead of pavement, which is a slightly different meaning in American English. You might adapt, but it doesn't mean British English is better.
You're a bit of an expert on the history of language. It's probably fair to say that American English is a bit closer to Old English. Is that correct?
It's not correct, John.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Old English was a specific type of English spoken before the Norman Conquest, 1066.
Oh, okay.
America had not been discovered in 1066.
So maybe not Old English, but is there another way of saying it?
You say an older English, because I think
Yeah,
the first colonies in America were in like the 17th century. There's not much truth in it. There's a little bit of truth in that in terms of some of the vocabulary. I think words like trash and fool are actually Britishisms, and we used to say them. And also the rhotic R, like mother, car. If you say a word where you say the R after a vowel, all of Britain used to speak like that. And those people went to America and they kept it. But in Britain now, apart from the West Country and I think in Lancashire, a few places, very few people have a rhotic accent. I certainly don't. You don't, John.
No, that's true. So like our R's are very soft, aren't they?
We don't say party. I can't even say it.
Party.
There's not a rolled R. Mother. That's a classic. You hear Americans would say that, mother.
Yeah.
Not all Americans, of course. Even America has variations. But most British people say mother. The R is not pronounced.
I guess maybe Scottish accent as well.
Yeah, you're right. Scottish accent is rhotic. Again, it's not all their variations.
Yeah.
But the famous one is West Country, was the pirate accent. Arr, Jim Lard.
Or my combine harvester.
Yeah, exactly. So that the harvest.
Harvester.
So you're saying the R. Yeah, that's why. But I wouldn't say it's much. Some words, the rhotic R, but otherwise, no. There's always a little bit of truth in some of these statements.
Obviously, that's why we're discussing them, isn't it, really? Because they aren't usually complete myths.
American English is a bit more old-fashioned than British English. They will say, I don't know, way out, and the Americans will say exit, which is what we probably would have said even 50 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it retains some sort of old worldly ways of speaking.
Often, maybe something like way out is a bit like a phrasal verb, isn't it? Therefore, we're maybe making the language a bit more informal.
Yeah. We don't like foreigners speaking wrongly. I don't know who says that. No, that's not right at all.
Where would that come from? I guess maybe some cultures, they're more of a purist idea about language. And perhaps people feel as if that is maybe the case in the United Kingdom. But it really isn't, is it?
Some people who don't speak a foreign language get angry when they hear English being spoken wrongly. I should say, British people get a sort of bad reputation for not speaking foreign languages, which is only partly true, because most people I know, probably you too, but most British people I know speak foreign languages.
But probably that's the circles that we move in.
Partly true, yeah. And also, you don't have to speak it. You can still get by just by speaking English. It's not in some jobs, even here in Thailand, you don't speak English, you're not getting the job. You don't speak this foreign language, you're not getting the job.
Yeah.
But that's very rarely the case in Britain. Almost never, where a few specialist industries maybe, but that's very rarely the case. So we don't have to speak it. I know maybe it's the circles we mix in, but I know a lot of people who speak, including family members who speak foreign languages, so it's not quite as bad as they say.
I think to some extent it is the circles we mix in. I guess we're both involved in language teaching, aren't we? And
yeah, but my family aren't. Family members, a lot of them speak foreign languages.
Sure, I don't have any family members that do, though.
Oh, okay.
So maybe my family would be perhaps a bit more common.
Okay.
I don't know. And maybe because you grew up in London, maybe that was more of a thing. I don't know. Would that be fair to say? Because obviously there's a big mix of cultures.
Yeah, maybe. I'll also say that, for example, if I'm in France, some other English person in France that doesn't speak French, the French person will think, oh, the English, they don't speak foreign languages. But this person may speak German, Spanish, Chinese and Japanese, but doesn't speak French because it's not one foreign language that we learned. You can make that assumption that we don't speak foreign languages, check if they know any others.
It is curious, isn't it? I suppose we do learn French, or I certainly did when I was younger and you were younger. We had about 6 years of French compulsory, was it?
It depends where you are. French was the most common foreign language, but I know there are people who learnt Spanish and learnt German than French.
It was always compulsory, wasn't it, French?
A foreign language is compulsory. Not every place learned French.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was part of the curriculum.
No.
You had to learn it.
No, people who didn't learn French.
Oh, interesting.
They just had to learn a foreign language, and French was the most common.
So that's not the case. I always thought it was.
There's nothing in the curriculum saying you have to learn French. Never. I think it doesn't exist anymore, but you must learn a foreign language. Now, not at all, I think, which is sad.
It is sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think it's very useful to know a foreign language, isn't it? I think it helps in terms of cultural understanding, understanding people in the world in a different way. I did French for 6 years. My French is pretty poor, but I do speak Italian fluently because of living there. That's much more interesting language for me. I would say my Spanish is definitely better than my French. No, it's not amazing. It's fairly okay, I would say, if I get going.
Okay.
And I think to some extent it's about your connection, isn't it? With the language or your passion in a way, isn't it?
Yes.
About the country and what you love. We hate talking to strangers.
I think it's not a country thing. I think it's a generational thing. I think now people just generally don't speak to strangers. They stare at their phone instead. I've noticed that you don't stop and ask people the time or strike up a conversation.
Like we used to.
Yeah, if you're sitting in a pub or something, you're waiting for somebody and someone else is there, each of you who don't know, each of you will check your phones. I was striking up conversations in the past, but now people think you're weird.
Yeah, that's
or in
true.
cafes, do you speak to people in cafes or pubs particularly? You always end up chatting with people. But now you go into a pub, people are behind their laptop or...
I don't think in a pub, maybe in a cafe.
I mean in a cafe, yeah. In a cafe, people are on their laptop or they got their earphones in, you don't want to disturb them, or they're looking at something at their phone.
Yeah.
So you don't strike up conversations as much as you used to, certainly.
That's true, but I suppose it's not about not wanting to talk to strangers, is it? I suppose it's just less common.
I've never heard that before. British people don't like speaking to strangers, but maybe it's true.
I don't know. Maybe it comes from the idea of small talk, that we would only talk about things like the weather.
Yeah, I've heard that quite a lot. We only talk about the weather. Really?
The first time we met each other, we spent 3 years just talking about
Yeah,
weather.
exactly. All right, a few years have passed, so we can talk about something else.
We talk about everything now.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
had to spend those 3 years, though, describing every aspect of the weather. Where does that come from? I don't know. I would say to some extent it depends on which part of the country you're in as well. I think particularly in the north or the Midlands, you'd always get people striking out conversations with strangers. London is not too bad, but I would say people are much more likely to do it in the Midlands or the north, don't you think? I mean, you studied in the north and the Midlands, don't you think that there's more chance of striking up a conversation with people?
I don't know. I'm always chatting to foreigners.
Are you?
Yeah, wherever. I always end up talking to people. I'm a bit weird, though.
Yeah, so you'd say you're unusual.
I think maybe I'm unusual.
I'm quite happy to speak to strangers, but I suppose it depends on the situation, the circumstances. Again, being an English teacher, maybe it's more common. Part of my job, part of our job, isn't it? To do that, because you've got to engage with people wanting to learn the language, coming along to conversation groups and the like. I think probably we've just got one last one that we're going to do.
Brit fagus is salis a clair.
British English. It's slow and clear.
British English is slow and clear. Then we did that, did we? Already? No, we haven't done that.
No, we haven't done that.
We're English teachers, so we speak slow and clearly, especially during this podcast. But I would say
We speak like this normally, don't we?
we might throw in some slang and some other things that are more difficult to comprehend.
Maybe.
I would say be careful because not everyone speaks super clearly. British people use a lot of idioms and a lot of slang, and in normal conversation that's more difficult to follow.
And people can, I don't know, speak very quickly sometimes, can't they? Maybe some accents in particular could be a bit quicker than others. Maybe stereotypically somebody from Liverpool might speak a bit quicker than the average person. That's fair to say, isn't it? I don't know, maybe also a Londoner, Cockney, that can be quite a quick way of speaking.
Yeah, I think it's also the vocabulary is often different to standard English you might have learnt in the books. If you're in many parts of the country, they'll have their little regional foibles.
Indeed, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm up, the flag.
Yeah, that's frequently
Something
said.
like that, yeah.
That's frequently said in the UK in a London pub.
Exactly. They always say it to me.
Maybe that's something that it's just you.
Maybe.
Never happened to me. I don't know. I guess these things happen. But yeah, it's probably unfair to say that it's always slow and clear. As you said, as English teachers, we're probably a bit more conscious, speaking slower and clearer. And also, our accents are fairly neutral, aren't they?
Yeah.
We don't really have strong accents.
No.
So we probably are clearer to the majority of people listening. Now, if we did have very regional accents, then I'm sure people listening would find it more difficult.
Yeah.
So maybe next time we could do a podcast and you can do it in Cockney and I can do it in Brummie and see what happens.
All right, let's do that.
Be brilliant.
Yeah.
What else do you do? We did some videos, didn't we? We did a video earlier this week or last week on Friday. Are we allowed to mention that? Or should
Oh,
we
yeah,
talk
sure.
about-
Yeah, that's quite fun. We haven't been idle here. We've been
No.
made a few videos coming up soon. I'll put a link to it on my channel, Let Them Talk TV, so you can see it's on another channel. But yeah, it's all about Chiang Mai and
Yeah.
elephants and
yeah.
elephant clothes and different things to do in Chiang Mai. Put a link to that soon.
It's quite an interesting cultural insight. It's making a bit of fun of tourists, isn't it? A little bit. The fact that a lot of people wear elephant clothes.
Yeah, one section of the video is wearing elephant clothes, but the full video is Chiang Mai from a local's perspective.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, it's trying to get sort of local people to give their recommendations about where to go.
That's wonderful.
Funny scene, yeah, we all wore elephant costumes, which is what people do. Tourists always buy these elephant shirts and trousers.
And trousers,
Yeah,
bit of a combo together, isn't it?
That's fun.
It's very Thai, though, isn't it? In terms of they're sold everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed you didn't get us some elephant flip-flops or an elephant hat.
No, next time.
Next time. Is that a promise?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm coming back then in that
Okay.
case.
Great.
Thanks for joining me, Gideon.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure as always. And you can't see the video, but genuinely we are in Chiang Mai together, looking into each other's eyes. It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Gideon. I appreciate it. You've been listening to English with Monty. Thanks for listening to English with Monty. For bonus episodes, sessions with the teacher, and discounts through our website, please sign up at patreon.com/English with Monty. Or you can join us for our English conversation group in London at meetup.com/Monty-English-conversation.